comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So I'm becoming a stand-up comedian again tomorrow night. I've got a gig. I need some fucking continuity. I need to get out there and start gigging. I did 2 gigs like a month ago, I think it was. Then there was a wedding and all that bullshit. So there's an excuse there. But excuses are for fucking losers. I should have been out there telling jokes to people. I should have missed my sister-in-law's wedding and done a 5-minute spot in the tattoo parlor. Thank fuck for this podcast, because if I was just relying on how much stand-up I've done in the last 18 months, then I would be completely fucked. I don't know what I would have done. I probably just would have become a full-time vlogger. One of my friends, actually, who doesn't listen to the podcast, watched one of my vlogs, my driving vlogs, and was fucking disgusted in me. He's like, what the fuck are you doing calling yourself a vlogger? And I'm like, no, don't worry about the vlogging shit. It's kind of like a joke if you listen to the podcast. And then I almost had a fucking panic attack because I was like, Jesus Christ, not everyone who watches those videos listens to the fucking podcast. Most people do, to be honest with you, but not everyone. So people looking up my YouTube channel are going to see virtually no stand-up on there at all. And then like 4 vlogs and me calling myself a vlogger. I don't want that stank lingering around my good name. The vlogger stank. Maybe instead of calling this a podcast, I'll call it an audio vlog. There's just something disgusting about the word vlog or blog. Is the word blog short for something like blogger? Right? Who knows, but it's one of those words when someone goes, I have a blog, or you should read this blog. You're like, yuck. That's disgusting. It's like child porn or something. Yuck. The cunt was found with 3 terabytes of blogs on his hard drive. Sick fuck. But I need to really start refocusing on the stand-up. I need to put some blood, sweat, and tears into the fucking stand-up. I need to make a mental switch, which is going to be hard because the reward for effort in stand-up, especially when you're trying to fucking put together something new from almost scratch, and also trying it out in front of fucking shitty small crowds, no crowds, driving an hour one way in Indian polluted fucking traffic, getting car sick, having to go to the gigs a little bit earlier to recover from the car sickness, then cranking out 5 minutes in your socks on stage, then another hour back, more car sickness, and then you just get home and go, well, that was fucked. That was 5 fucking hours, and no one at the tattoo parlor is ever going to remember that. So it's a real fucking grind, and the reward is, let's call it negligible. Whereas I can sit here doing an auto vlog pretty much nude, just in my underwear, one ball drooping out, talk shit for a couple of minutes, put it on the internet, and then just get messages from all around the world. Hey man, just started listening to your podcast. I'm going to quit alcohol. Love it, man. Keep up the good work. Hey, bro. Love your podcast. I'm giving up the booze. Trying to get sober myself. Keep up the good work. Hey, man. Spotify just recommended your podcast. I'm stopping drinking. No one ever knows the fucking name of this podcast. It's I'm Quitting Alcohol with comedian David Boyle. But messages just come in from all around the world, and I don't even need to put pants on. It is the best. But the stand-up is the point, so I need to start refocusing. I need to start putting some energy into it. Get that grind happening. Anyway, that all starts tomorrow, but before then, we've got tonight, and tonight is Fucked Up Friday. If you would like to send in your favorite drunken story to be read out on this podcast, email it in to me on boylecomedy@gmail.com, or join the Patreon, support the podcast. The links to the Patreon are in my social media bios, which is Boyle Comedy on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Send it into the Patreon, skip the line, support the podcast so I never have to go back to working with cranes again. Anyway, let's move on to this week's Fucked Up Friday. So the story this week was sent in by a lady, one of Boyle's bitches. One of Boyle's bitches. She's a lady from the US and wants to remain anonymous, so let's just get straight into it. After I graduated college, I went on a month-long group trip in South America. Me and one of the guys from the group hit it off, but nothing happened because I was too busy slutting around with locals and working on getting as many countries as possible in my sex passport. That is a lot easier to do for a girl than a guy. Getting all the countries in your sex passport as a girl, that's like, I don't know, that's like having an Australian passport. Every country just lets you in. No forms, no negotiating, no fees for entry. A guy trying to fill up his sex passport with different countries is like fucking having a passport for Afghanistan. You're checked at every border, you're under suspicion, you've got to pay for it most of the time. It's not the same thing. What I'm trying to say is it's a lot fucking harder when you're a guy. Everything is. So what was she doing? She met some dude but didn't hook up with him because she was slutting around trying to fill her sex passport. So we decided I would just come visit him for a long weekend in LA after the trip, which was pretty much 4 days of being drunk, going to clubs and fucking. One night while clubbing, we made friends with these slightly scary Russian people, and 5 or 6 of them came over after we left the club. We started playing Never Have I Ever. They were drinking beer, but for some reason I was dead set on wine. The only wine available at the moment had been opened a while ago and had mostly turned into vinegar, but still had some alcohol. So I poured the 80% of the bottle that was left into a water glass and had that. So during the game, someone said they had never used anything metal during sex. I put down my finger. They asked what the metal thing was. I'm sure expecting handcuffs or something normal. Nope. I say a loaded gun. They are equal parts scared and impressed, and someone decides this means it's time to get the cocaine out. So she doesn't mention how she used the gun. Like, was it held to her? Was it held to the back of her head in some sort of like fantasy role play? Or was it inserted somewhere into some orifice? I suppose they're the only two options, aren't they? Let's hedge our bets and say it was a little bit of both. So they got the cocaine out. Everyone's getting high and horny. And the roommate of the guy I had come to visit starts professing his love for me. He's a sweet guy, so I decided to be nice and give him a blowjob. Right there in the living room in front of everyone. God, I love it when the ladies send in stories. Ladies, get your shit together and start sending in more stories. He was somewhat confused and held up his hands like, whoa, 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 it's not my fault. And the guy I was visiting waved at him like, it's all right, man, let her do her thing. I don't remember much after that, but apparently we were all just shooting the shit for a few more hours. Also, apparently I'm a very good liar when blackout drunk. At some point, I started telling a story about being attacked in an alley by some guy. He pulled a gun on me, there was a scuffle, and I ended up shooting him in the head. None of that really happened, but drunk me described it in such vivid detail that they all believed me and decided that was a good note to end the night on. I go up to the roommate's bedroom, get naked, and get in his bed thinking I'm giving him the best present ever. I promptly passed out. He comes up a few minutes later, shrugs, and sleeps next to me. I woke up at like 5 a.m. and scurried back into the original guy's room. I had to convince them the next morning that I had not actually killed someone. I don't think they were totally convinced either way. The guy invited me to another bender/sex weekend a couple of years later, but I was dating someone else and more importantly, about a month into sobriety, so I decided it was probably not the best idea. Jesus Christ. I have one question that I'm going to need answered, and that is, what was the sex act done with the gun? I need to know. I'll find out what that is, and when I post this on the Patreon, I will put the answer in the comments. Thanks for the story. I love getting stories from the ladies. That's it for tonight. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see ya the fuck later.